thanks for watching. This is part 2 of the videos that I did of the building beats for worship. Today we're just going to be talking about taking the specific samples and how to affect them and arrange them that's most helpful. It's just going to be kind of an overview video, not going to be too specific, but please leave comments if you're looking for specifics, and hopefully in the future I'll do more videos about effects and how to dial in certain sounds. Here is the beat from last video, kind of that 4 on the floor electronic feel, and this video we're going to be talking about just the different effects we can add and the different ways to take this loop and use it live. The first option is just the simplest one, which is just to take the loop as a whole. Once I kind of get a good mix of how everything sounds right now, I think it's a good sounding mix, good blend between the kick, the claps, and the blips. I can record it. I'll turn the click so you can hear it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I have the beat recorded, and at any point I can pull it in my live scene. And now I can layer it with different loops. I can add the effects to it that I want from down here in live. That's kind of the simple way to do it. I do this for a lot of loops that don't have a lot of specific sounds to it. And this is probably the best approach if you are playing and you don't have a available sound tech. I know a lot of prayer meetings across the earth have a few musicians, and it's hard to find a sound tech to do it full time, and so that's a great approach for that. But if you do happen to be blessed to have a full-time sound tech, a lot of times recording the samples individually is the way to go, because it gives both you and the sound guy control to mix it live in different settings. And so the easiest way to do that, I mean, it's the same principle, but you can just go into the program and solo each individual thing. So I'll just go grab the kick. I'll wait for it to cycle through. So now I have the kick, so I'll just move that over a little bit. Now I'll go over here and I'll solo the claps. And I'll throw the shaker in there. One, 2, 3, 4. Then finally I'll grab the different blips. So now I have the 3 main categories of the loop. Let me turn off Guru over here. In triggerable audio format, and if you watched my previous videos and my setup all the time, I will put these in different sections. Like I'll have all of them together right there, and then I'll have just the kick, maybe down here. You can just copy it and paste it if you want to bring in many spots, and then maybe I'll have just the claps and then maybe the blips right there. And also for naming clips, it's all you have to do is double click on them, go to the clip grid, and then type in whatever you want for this, and you have the name for the loop. And now from here you have the options to affect each individual part without changing the entire loop, which is the advantage of doing it this way as well. And so for the kick, we'll kind of start with different options here. You kind of heard that loop I played earlier was a kind of an overdriven loop, and so that's kind of a common loop sound, is just kind of give it overdrive. It kind of gives it that housey, almost clickier sound, and if you expand the EQ range of the overdrive, then you kind of get that super peaked out overdriven sound. So that can sound cool. You can put gate on it and kind of make it short, and all the time I'll leave an EQ on it, and so why not? You might as well throw some more bass on it. If you're in a system that has a great subwoofer, then you can kind of turn up the bass and turn that down, or some other options. If you overdrive the kick, if you're maybe wanting a loop that's not as thumpy, you can here's a quick EQ with a mid boost on, and that can kind of be a cool boxier sound. So you can find these different sounds, and the nice thing about live is all I have to do is for my audio from, I can go to beat loops 1 and then arm the track, and now I can record the loop as it sounds right now, just kind of that MIDI boxier range. Now I'm just going to name it here quickly so everything makes sense. 125. We'll just call it thin kick. Now I have the option of having this new kind of sound to go with my loop, or I can layer this with the other beat, and I'll turn off the EQ and overdrive, so now I'm back to the normal sound. Unarm that track, and now I can layer in this. Oops, let me start them at the right time. And it adds a new dimension and a new sound. I'll do that all the time for different claps and different sounds. Like for example, the blips, they kind of sound kind of standard right now, but I'm just gonna throw in some basic effects. We'll throw in some overdrive for starters. I kind of have this intense compressor dynamic thing, kind of gives it kind of some swells and stuff. Maybe throw in some erosion distortion. Maybe throw some EQ on it as well. Now suddenly I have something that's way more original sounding, because it's not just that specific sound that I dialed in. Now I'll go to beat loops again. Turn my monitor on. Arm the track. Now record it. And now I have the track. I can go back and forth between the original sounding blip and then the new sounding blip, and I can either layer them together or just have one or the other. And now, instead of just having that standard loop, so that's kind of the main way that you can allow yourself to grow on your specific loop, is by grabbing them over in specific samples and kind of messing with them. And you don't even have to do drastic effects. Like I was kind of doing more effects to make it sound really different, but even just basic effects, like go here to my audio effects, grab a compressor, just kind of put some solid compression. We'll just do a ratio of 4:1. That's already going to beef up the sound there, and like before we did a little bit of EQ there, maybe boost a little bit on the high end, and right there it's already a different sound than it was just when I was recording it straight from Guru. And now it has a lot more feeling to it, even though it doesn't sound all all crazy and affected out like this does now with the just specific sounds. But it does sound a little bit better, stands out a little bit more, sounds maybe a little bit more professional. And so if you want to have the luxury of having a sound guy and having a sound setup where that really matters, then it's really helpful Two, it's helpful too if you're in a setting, if you're the keyboard player, say, or even the drummer that has a free hand a lot of times. You can really play prophetically the different beats and the sounds, because you can kind of bring in different effects and bring out different sounds, and you can really mess with all these different options. It's not just, pressing play and then there's the beat, and a lot of people think, oh yeah, well, that's not prophetic, or that's not spontaneous, or that's not original. You're just hitting play on a button. But you're actually, just like anyone else on their instrument, you're creating, you're listening, you're adding, and you're doing all those different things, and those are just ways that you can make your beats come alive.